I heard that Nyesom Wike, the self-appointed Godfather, self-styled Oracle of River State, I had a Thanksgiving celebration. Now, how can Nyesom Wike constitute himself into a nuisance in River State and he runs riot in River State? He has that privilege because he's backed by President Tinubu.
Hello, wonderful followers and subscribers of Holy Ghost Song. I hope this video finds you well. Guys, I want to show you a video of Dr. Ruben Abbati. Guys, you need to see where Dr. Ruben Abbati, shocked all Nigerians. As this guy lambasted Wike, he said Wike is going to back constituting users everywhere all because he has the backing of Tinubu. Which even a child is away, even the blind can see. Even the deaf can hear it. You understand? See, this video is very interesting because we all know Rufai to be the vocal one. But what Ruben Abbati said did shocked the Nigerians. As you watch it now, please endeavor to share this video, like it and share it until it gets to Wike and Pablo Escobar.
Well, a number of critical issues here. The first is that the primary responsibility of the Nigerian state is to ensure that there is peace, there is stability in River State, and that the people of River State do not suffer unnecessarily for the ego politics, as we have seen in Lagos, Osun, elsewhere, that is being played by politicians. And it is as follows. Now, at the end of the day, the people who are going to suffer are the people of River State. They are the ones who are going to suffer because the Supreme Court judgment says that there will be no further federal allocations to River State because the Supreme Court has so decided that there is a reign of illegality and impurities in River State. That's number one. So who pays for that? The people. The second thing is that, the various gladiators that are involved in this, they have been cherry picking in terms of their interpretation of the Supreme Court judgment in this matter. And in a way, they have succeeded in putting the Supreme Court of Nigeria on the spot. Now, I wrote yesterday in this day newspaper, in the back page column, that I would like to see the certified true copy of the judgment because it will be an act of utter illiteracy to comment on a judgment that you have not seen. But when I read the newspapers this morning, I saw that some persons claim that they have seen the CTC, that's the Udeze, who is the chairman of the Action Alliance in River State, and on the basis of that, he says he aligns himself with the ruling. I don't know what he has seen. But from a distance, I have not read the CTC. I see that everybody is looking for the part of that ruling that is convenient for them. The governor, for example, has said the local government chairmen that were elected, as he decided, should step aside. The 2015 local government pro-Wike chairmen are saying that they are coming back. That's his own interpretation. Other interpretations by the governor is that, he will respect what the Supreme Court has said. That all of that is within the province of the law. I think that what the aggrieved parties need to do will be to go back to that same Supreme Court to seek a proper interpretation of what their lordships have decided. Their lordships have given directives, they've cancelled local government elections, they said no more, local federal allocations to the state. They have said also that the pro-Wike 27-man Amewule faction are the legitimate persons who should occupy that position. Well, as a student of the subject, what I'll be interested when I get the opportunity to see the CTC is to ask two questions. What is it now that their lordships are saying with regard to precedent in this matter? Abegunde versus Ondo State House of Assembly, 2015, which was an issue about defection. What are they saying about Section 68, sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution? What are they saying about Section 109, 1G of the 1999 Constitution? That would be useful clarifications for students of the subject. So, but you cannot comment except you have read the CTC. The other side of it is the political side of it. And the political side of it is as follows. I heard that Nyesom Wike, the self-appointed Godfather, self-styled Oracle of River State, I heard a Thanksgiving celebration. Now, how can Nyesom Wike constitute himself into a nuisance in River State and he runs riot in River State? He has that privilege because he's backed by President Tinubu. My main argument yesterday in the newspaper was that we're running a world of godfathers, where certain individuals, are more important than institutions, and those individuals then decide that this is the position I've taken and my position must prevail. It is something that President Tinubu must look into. Although he has publicly, as I also argued yesterday, endorsed Nyesom Wike to say this is a minister in whom I'm well pleased. But it must be important to the president of Nigeria that there must be no crisis, chaos, instability in River State. Now that the Ijaw Youth Congress and the Ijaw National Congress, INC, led by Professor Okaba, Benjamin Okaba, are now saying that, look, if you try to remove Fubara, there will be chaos in River State. All the flow stations will be locked up and there will be crisis. That will be a return to the past. We have gone through that route before. We do not need to go through that route again. So I think that seeking a clarification of the interpretation of the ruling by the Supreme Court will be useful, instead of this situation where you have a character called Timmy Frank offering his own interpretation, INC has his own interpretation, IYC has his own interpretation, and what's his name? The governor, what's his name? Simi Fubara. He is behaving like he's behaving like he's behaving like a weather-beaten chicken. He's looking for every part of the judgment that he can follow. And the elders, the South Elders Forum, they are saying, well, we will not capitulate, we will not do this, we will not do that. Well, I hope the elders know what they are doing. Wike now has them in a corner, as it appears on the political front. Well, we would like to see what develops, but we don't need all these fires, Lagos, Osun, Rivers. How many fires would Tinubu put out? He has to stop the fires from flaring.
Absolutely. Welcome back, Dr. Abbati. So good to have you again. Thank you so much. Now, the truth is that we've been talking about this since the news broke. And honestly, as has been said, until the CTC is cited, we cannot comment fully on it. But we can obviously talk about what the outcomes and the reactions and the responses by different stakeholders. Some for, some against. Some people are rejoicing, as we saw in some quarters, and others are now strategizing as to what is next. Really and truly, I think we had a lawyer earlier this week come to speak, I think Mr. Malaki, who had come to talk about this. And one of the things that we had said was that the importance of this particular ruling is that there was a long debate around what happens when certain members of a house defect. Is it automatic, forfeiting of their seat? Or as we see now, is it that a process must be made? Because that's not clear yet. As long as we know it, Martins Amewule's faction are now members of the APC. They defected, and now the ruling says they're still, that the government must present its budget. There are also questions around, okay, then what happens to the previous budget that has already been spent, 2022 budget to 2025, and it's like, okay, the judgment cannot be retrospective. Yes, it has to be, it's looking forward. So it is the budget 2025 that has not been fully executed that we talked about. But beyond that, I recall that I'd said that one of the challenges with that particular story was how people were praising the governor, that he said he was going to abide by the rule of law. What's other option? And I said that it's a reflection of how we consider the law, especially when it has to do with politics, whereby you choose to obey this one, and then the fact that the Supreme Court has ruled does not necessarily mean compliance. That's a big problem in our system and our institutions, because if we don't have people who are able, especially at that level, respect the rule of law, then we have a big problem on our hands. And that's why these conversations around, maybe or not the governor would be impeached, what would then happen once the faction that is in support of Wike come into power, are they going to move to impeach him and the likes? And already people are planning ahead for that and saying that nothing of the sorts must happen. Again, the strategy being used for this is that they're going to cause mayhem. They're going to go to the pipes. They're going to hold the country to ransom. The president's initiative to ramp up oil production will be stalled. They would make sure they do all this and that. And that is not what we want to start to push right now. That is taking us back to where we are just even recovering from. And I'm hoping that those who have, especially, prominent people like Chief Timmy Frank, would be careful not to make careless statements like this. One of the things the governor has tried to say in encouraging the respect of the rule of law is that he was going to be law-abiding, everyone should keep calm, and I thought that was great positioning. It does not all go well for peace, democracy in River State, particularly for the people, when they are inciting statements like this made. I watched a video by one of the Ijo leaders, Tom Byton, or your friend,
Sari
Dokubo, thank you very much. And he was talking about how a word is enough for the wise. People like this should be brought in for investigation, because already they've come out to make a threat as to what would happen if the governor were impeached. And that doesn't in any way speak well of democracy. They haven't even seen the judgment, the CCC, they haven't yet read the interpretations, and yet they're already making moves. What happened when they had the opportunity to do this before all this blew out of proportion? They need to sort this out. But again, like we said, River State has been deprived, the people of River State have been deprived of good and continuous and stable government for the last 2 years as a result of 2 political gladiators fighting. And now it seems as if they want to move to the next level of this, impasse that's happening in River State. The security agents would need to take a close look at these people who are making these threats and ensure that they thwart whatever plans that they have to violence, because it doesn't go their way. Absolutely, because we cannot afford to have that on our hands.